The Kingdom of Eswatini has for many years seen calls for the consideration of a democratically elected government and a transition to political autonomy outside of the monarch. These calls, which have led to numerous demonstrations and protest action, have over the past few years turned violent and sometimes even deadly. Human Rights Watch has declared the situation there as a violation of human rights, and now there's been allegations that have surfaced that these pro-democracy movements are actually foreign-sponsored. Let's speak now to the People's United Democratic Movement, Mlungisi Makhanya. Thank you very much for availing yourself this morning. What do we need to understand about these allegations that some of the pro-democracy movements are actually funded by foreign agents?
Good morning, and good morning to Newsroom Africa listeners and viewers. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Maybe just a small correction, it's Mlungisi Makhanya, not Mlungisi Makhanya. Relating to your question, we're extremely angered by these wild, unfounded allegations that our struggle for liberation and freedom is something that is foreign sponsored. But we understand what is happening here. Maybe just to give your viewers a bit of context as to the origination of these wild claims. We know that behind these wild claims there is the notorious former Zimbabwean minister called Jonathan Moyo, working with one woman who is called Delta Ndo, who is the CEO of the Rubicon Group based in Cape Town, that have established 3 newspapers here in Swaziland called the Eswatini Times, Eswatini Daily News, and Eswatini Sunday News, working together with Marcelo Shikandu, who's one of the local version of the Guptas here in Swaziland. The aim of this, obviously sponsored by the king, is to try and divert the attention of the world and the attention of Swazis on what they've been fighting for decades, which is liberation and the respect of human rights in our country. So, in a nutshell, there is no iota of truth in this wild allegation. They found a useful idiot in Jonathan Moyo, who claimed to be exiled in Kenya, who is behind these media houses that I've listed, with working obviously with his friend Ndo, who's based in Cape Town in South Africa.
Are you aware of the National Democratic Institute? It's apparently an American non-governmental organization, and this is the organization that is reportedly funding the pro-democracy movements, with meetings allegedly having taken place in Rwanda, Mauritius, and in South Africa?
Well, I'm aware of them as far as their existence, but they've not.
Mr. Makhanya, we are losing you there intermittently, so I'm not quite sure. I think you've muted yourself. Please.
It's always been something that is
Mr.
assisted
Makhanya,
by Swazis themselves.
I beg your pardon. So
Yes.
we didn't get your answer in the beginning there, as the connection was muted. So on the National Democratic Institute, you say you're aware of their existence. You have never done work with them or associated with them at all?
Yes, I was saying I know them as far as their existence, but we have never done any work, nor do we have any association with them here in Swaziland. They've never funded the Swazi struggle in any form or shape. What is quite upsetting to us, by the way, about this whole thing is that it takes place during the month of June, when we are trying to still come to terms with the fact that a lot of our patriots were killed cold-bloodedly last year by this murderous regime. And for this regime to finance some of these wild allegations akin to the Belly Pottinger allegation in South Africa is quite upsetting, to say the least. We have no dealings with that NDI or any
Okay, Mr. Makhanya, we're really struggling with... We're really struggling with the connection as it gets muted intermittently there. But I think maybe a closing thought from you in terms of what these allegations then do for the calls for democracy in the country. Are you worried how, you know, for instance, SADC will respond to this and other regional bodies?
Of course, we are concerned, but we are hoping that SADC, because some of these allegations are very easily verifiable. For instance, it is alleged that we have held meetings in places such as Rwanda, Mauritius, just to name but a few. Anyone who has access to the itinerary of the leaders, they would clearly see that we have never made such traveling arrangements to those sort of jurisdictions. But we are hoping that SADC, as a credible institution, is not going to fall for this propaganda led by Mswati using Moyo and company. Our people on the ground, however, they remain resolute as we are preparing to commemorate the June 29 massacre. We are visiting communities, we are encouraging our people to tell their stories around their lived experience last year when we were massacred, and we're looking forward to the June 29 commemoration. This is just a minor irritation, but it is not distracting us in any form or shape.
Thank you very much to Mr. Mlungisi Makhanya. He's the president of the opposition party People's United Democratic Movement in Eswatini, refuting claims that pro-democracy calls in Eswatini are foreign-sponsored.